seat. We got seats by the bar. We got seats over here on the side. Oh, no. Shout out to DJ Nova Scotia who on my behalf, pulled up on my behalf to bring some extra vibes to the kickback. So usually we have been for the past few months over in Flatbush at the House of Gold. And, we're just trying out different Black-owned businesses in the neighborhood. I want to be able to bring this dialogue to different parts of Brooklyn and hopefully different parts of the city. So if you see it in the Bronx, don't be acting funny. Make sure y'all come uptown. It's not that bad, I promise. My name is Illy. The Conscious Kickback is an open discussion forum that I created so that I can have just good conversation around good Black folk. My living room isn't big enough to host everybody, so it was my attempt to be able to do it in spaces that can hold everyone's thoughts, and most importantly, be respectful, be constructive. I really want to make sure that we are all about unifying, connecting, and developing and growing our people through shared opinions. And the opinions are going to be different. That's fine. It's all about respecting everybody's opinions and just knowing that there might just be a gem nestled in somebody else's thought or perspective. So make sure that we are being utmost respectful. Some ground rules is there are no absolutes. Always and never don't exist in this space because we already know there's a lot of gray spaces in between the always and the never. Another ground rule, if you will, is that we are speaking from our own perspective. Shout out to the conversation catalyst in the space, Frank Gold of Bold Art Society. We got Jamel Henderson right here, okay, a man of many degrees. And we got Tariq Solomon. And our, I guess, unofficial fourth catalyst really is everybody here because the conversation happens with everybody. I have on my page that the conversation catalysts are meant to initiate dialogue. They are not the ones that are expected to be experts on anything outside of their own truth, their own experiences. So everybody else who is here, you all are all welcome to be a part of the conversation. We just have these brave catalysts, these brave men to be here to offer their opinions first, and then the conversation will leverage thereafter. All right, everybody feeling good, feeling great?
Yeah.
Everybody need an extra drink? Shout out to Brooklyn Residency for hosting us. Shout out to Melly Mel, who owns the space. Shout out to Patrice, who's manning the bar. Shout out to Christian, not you, Christian in the kitchen. Shout out to Christian in the kitchen. So when you order the wings, it's going to be coming from him and DJ Nova Scotia with the tunes. All right, you feeling good? Let's do it. So I'm going to put the mic down because this is just for style. All right, it's just to get everybody's attention. But the real conversation is going to happen when you put the mic down and we just kicking it. This is the kickback part of it. The first question that I'm launching out to everybody, you got to set the foundation. What is brotherhood? What does brotherhood even mean to you? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And I'm going to actually tie in the second part of the question, which is how do you distinguish somebody who might be an acquaintance, and not just you, because what I appreciate about the demo tonight is you all are men, and we don't always get to hear from our brothers. So one, shout out to y'all for being able to come through and share your opinions. Last month, we did this version, but about sisterhood and the way that we women do things and move through the world is different than the way men do and how men move through the world. So my heart's desire is to create space for men to share their perspective on similar questions. So the first question is, what is brotherhood? What does that look like and mean to you? And then the second part is going to be, how do you distinguish somebody who might just be an acquaintance, a homeboy, colleague versus a brother, somebody that you are holding down in a different way? What does that look like? Any of my catalysts are free to kick that off first.
I should go first.
Come on with it.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Ellie, for hosting a space like this. I think what you're doing is very revolutionary, and I honor you for this. And
thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
Yes.
My definition of brotherhood and how I would differentiate a brother from a friend, from a colleague is, for me, a brother is a lifelong commitment to someone. A friend or a colleague for me would be someone that I kind of talk to because we have a shared interest or we know each other through a shared location. Like if I have a coworker who we might like the same sports team, but as soon as he gets fired or he moves to somewhere else, we stop talking. As opposed to a brother, regardless of if our interests change, if our jobs change, if our relationship status change, whatever changes, that bond is always going to be there no matter what.
That's good.
And what I would add to that is, it's not only a lifelong thing, but we're both committed to each other's betterment. And whether he's going astray or not, me and my wife, we kind of had not a disagreement, but because we were talking about sometimes we have friends, or I have friends that
It's all right.
that they might not be going on the right path, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to drop them off as a brother. I might be able to say, you got to do that away from me, and when you get back on the right track, I'll always be here to accept you. But just because you're doing something that I might disagree with, I'm still gonna be there for you, even if it's not a right there every single day in the trenches with you. I might be a brother from a distance, but as long as you get back, but when you get back on that track to righteousness, if you will, I'll be here for you, regardless, no matter what. That's my definition.
Copy. That's good. Lifelong. So I'm trying to. I try as conversation goes along. I try to like encapsulate certain kind of either gems or like major points to make sure that everybody is kind of hanging on to something based on what we're talking about. So what I got from you, what I'm hearing is, all right, that's what they be saying. What I'm hearing is brotherhood is lifelong commitment in spite of life shifts and changes, space and distance, and the distinguishing factor is the lifelong commitment. Somebody that no matter what, you still decided to hold on to.
Absolutely.
Even if they make certain poor choices, you might have to distance a little bit, but you're still available.
Absolutely.
Heard. Anybody else want to add on?
I was just gonna piggyback on some of the things that he said. When I'm looking at it in terms of a brotherhood and friends and acquaintances, sometimes an acquaintance and a friend can become a brother. So like for me, I don't try to eliminate someone from becoming a part of my brotherhood or my friend group. But for me, how I distinguish that from his friends is, I guess, time and experiences with said person. An example is I met Jamel a couple of months ago in the summertime, and me and him talk all the time right now. You know what I'm saying? But like, I also have met an acquaintance at work. He loved anime like I like anime. So I no longer live in Albany. He lives in Albany. I'm down here, but we still check up on each other. You know, I'm going to little gym videos. Like, oh, I see you getting in shape, or you post a little bit. I'm like, oh, I see your son doing good in basketball. So I think it's also about some of the common traits that you find within another person, or like the common values you all have. You know, for me, I'm a very observant person. There's times that I can meet someone for the first time and I can look over to my brother right here. Yeah, I could be like, bro, I don't really like that guy. I don't really like how he's moving. I never spoke to the guy, I never shook his hand, but there's something about his aura is off. And like, after a while, sometimes it will show like, okay, this is why but like, I never per se eliminate someone from being a part of my brotherhood or my friend group. Especially if they're bringing something there that I don't have or haven't had before, in my opinion. And as I said, I distinguish them based off their values and what they think is important in life. So that's how I do it. Because like you said, you know, we have friends that are like still in like, you have disagreement with your wife, with like friends I have friends that still do certain things, but they still have some of the same values that I have in terms of family, friendship. I moved from Albany last year. Some of them came up to Albany to help me move down here. you know, they took their time out of the day to do that. And that's like the brotherhood and friendship that we continue to grow regardless if they're doing good or bad.
Mhm.
So that's how I look at it in a sense. It's like the core values that we share.
Copy. Anybody else on that particular question? Introduce yourself, Gangsta.
Hello. My name is Joseph Robertson. Nice to meet you all. I say for me, I guess because of how I grew up, I guess the hood, the trenches, or whatever. For me, is like a brother is somebody I can kind of let my guard down with. A person I feel like a lot of times we perpetuate this form of masculinity where we gotta always be good, we gotta always be okay. And I feel like with me, like having a brother versus an acquaintance or a coworker or a friend is like, even some of my friends I might be close to, but certain shit I'm not.
No, go for it. No, be good.
Yeah,
Be good.
right.
There is no cable network sponsoring this, okay?
You feel me? It's like certain shit I can't say to certain people. You feel me? I done had times when I'm with coworkers, I'm thinking I'm close and like, what you mean you're not good? You gotta always be good. I'm like, man, no, I thought we was here. You feel me? But at the same
He got West Indian.
Yeah.
You gotta be. But yeah, it's just like certain people you can't be yourself, and I feel like, and I'm a creative as well, and I feel like certain times people accept certain versions of me, but they don't accept me. And you feel me? And I feel like for me, like what makes somebody my brother or family is when we can like accept each other for who we are. I know at times loving somebody unconditionally can become very toxic, like you said yourself. But for me, unfortunately, certain people are in darker spaces, and I can't blame somebody that can't see the light if they blind. And I feel like having a brother is accountability and responsibility. Like, damn, you blowing minds right now, but I know that, right? Like, wherever you are, I'm going to be there to support you. I may not be able to be in that mess with you because that's not my time anymore. Or I could have grown, or maybe I see things a certain kind of way. Even I got some of my big brothers in it, you feel me? But at the same time, it's like, even with them, it's like, and it's also about the turmoil. Like, have we gone through anything? You know, I don't want to say that you have to go something with the people in your life or your brothers, because sometimes, like, I'm at a point in my space, I'm at a sense of maturity in my life where I don't need to go through the mud to understand certain things. Sometimes the beauty is in the light, but at the same time, it's a sense of betterment for the relationship is when I can go through certain things and my brothers can understand what I'm going through and still be able to be somewhat of a light. And even if they're not right beside me, they could be in front of me. And that's a torch for me to follow.
Yeah.
That's a flare or a flicker for me to be like, I'm here, but my man's is here. And since I'm connected to him, that means we still here too. So if he's there, I could be there as well.
Right.
It's just more about me getting to that point in time to be there or being able to grasp what's around me and find peace within that area so I can see the light around me. So just like to complete the statement, it's just more about like being able to be myself around those that I consider my family, because if I can't be me around you, who am I really?
Right.
That was nice.
All right,
That was,
sir.
yeah.
Yo, I hunted this man down. Mad hard to try to
Give
get
the attitude,
him. Try to officially be here, and you.
He's surprised.
No, yes, that's biblical. It's all right. I see what you do. But
First of all y'all answers I respect 100%. For me, it's different. So I'm the great 38 years old. Proud.
you better talk that talk.
Proud.
Great 38. Put that on a t-shirt.
And brotherhood for me is absolutely completely different from what I hear on the street and block, different spaces. Brotherhood for me is straight up, if you see me for me 100%, you know my heart, you know my spirit, and if you know my value, that I proudly say this, and some of my little brothers know, I'm the 1% behind the 1% for what brotherhood looks like. You don't have brothers that will say, God forbid, I just met you today. Let's say you call me tonight. My lady's here. She knows my heart. You say, yo, no, something went down. Call people and I have no place to stay. No questions asked. Why? Because of my personal life experiences. From being in foster care, from losing my parents, I understand what it's like to give somebody a second chance. Give them stability to go forth and be better than me. And some of my little brothers here are perfect examples of just doing that. Even in the midst of my own personal struggle, they know and understand that they can always be 100% around me. I can be 100% around them.
Mhm.
At this stage, I should no longer have to prove my worth in doubt. And there are a lot of brothers formerly that were in my life who are feeling it today because they misunderstood what the value of brotherhood is. And that's what it means to me.
Copy.
Mhm.
All right. So you said they miss you because they missed you.
Testimonies is real.
Perfect.
Testimonies is real.
I'm curious to know, what are some dynamics that impact the level of brotherhood that you might have with somebody? Like, what are some of the variables that make major shifts in going back to that connectivity, right? Maybe you might have to put some distance in space. We had a similar question among the sisters, but there are things that tend to shift people, men and women. There are certain variables that tend to shift people away from each other or in different spaces with each other. What do those variables look like in a circle of Black men? What are some variables that make major impacts and shifts in brotherhood?
I was
Life changes.
Say it again.
No, I'm saying it's like general life changes or something.
General life changes. Can you be a little more specific? Though?
And not like anything from like, just recently got married last year.
Oh, congratulations.
I did. Just certain things that I'm just not gonna do in this phase of life, I don't think that it changes the dynamic I have with my brothers in the sense that, Steph is not gonna go to the strip club, not even the strip club now. I'm just saying like something like crazy like that.
And if he was, I would be fine.
No, I'm just throwing it out there, but I'm just saying though, it's just like one of those things where, y'all not gonna see me as much, going to the bar or doing this on like a Tuesday when, I need to be at home making sure my house is in order and things like that nature. And I don't think that unfortunately I've seen it in cases where it does change maybe the dynamic too much of like friendships and stuff like that where, your boys will start giving you shit like, oh, you don't be around no more, whatever, and things of that nature. I've definitely witnessed that, but I mean, I've been fortunate enough at least to, I think back to like piggyback what somebody was saying before about like the core values and principles you share with your brothers. Like, I think life could only like deter that like so much. Recently one of my best friends, his father passed away, and his father was like a really influential figure in my life who filled a lot of gaps for me. So I really took it hard, And me and him really aren't on the best of terms right now. But I mean, unfortunately, that's one segment of whatever, but at the same time, it is, nothing that, we need to get flower arrangements, we need to do this, X, Y, and Z. And kicking it like it's like,
Like nothing is gonna happen.
And even like, our issues, it wasn't even so much of a falling out or anything. It's really more so my friend kind of going through his own personal like shadow work that he needs to work through.
More shadow work.
Yeah.
And, he just has to get through what he has to get through. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where like in that moment, none of that matters right now. The fact is like, I'm here if you need me, whatever you need me to do.
Right.
And I think like, again, to piggyback, I think like, life changes will definitely, switch, I guess, the stratosphere of like, whatever, you and your friend did and y'all was in 6th grade versus college versus, as young adults and professional, whatever. But, I think it's the core foundation is there. There's really only so much that, can like really deter like, the core of your brotherhood.
So in the life is always going to make people shift things, but just speaking specifics for you, marriage definitely shifted things. Anybody else can pinpoint and grief, that'll shift things for sure. Anybody else can add on to what are some like major impacts that shift a brotherhood dynamic?
Your destination.
Mm-hmm.
So let me break that down.
You such yo. What I got.
You know what? Because God blessed me with wisdom. And this is something I asked for. So, you know, to be 38,
Come on,
still
man.
super vibrant.
Mhm.
Like I tell black men, y'all better pray y'all look like me at my age. Seriously, because I know cats that around my age, they not 30, they don't
be looking like
they
that.
look like the AARP card. Let's call it what it is. Sorry, some of you, let's call it what it is. And my ladies see some of my friends, but the dynamics, the dynamics.
Don't do that.
I did.
She just trying to get her
She
prize.
need her father piece. But when I say life experiences, it's the confidence of where you're trying to go. So I want to give a big shout out to my big bro, Curtis Brown. He's there, right? He knew me since he put undergirded me since 2006, right? I dropped out, got academically dismissed from John Jay in 2004. I had taken a year off, started my CUNY career, and now I'm in my last year of my doctoral program.
Yeah,
Right?
come on, doctor.
Right? And when you're clear on what you want to do, right? I've said to this day, I still want to be president of the United States. It's going to happen. Why? Because I've been doing the work, right? And when you put the value and work in, and as you continue to excel, when they start seeing you in spaces, places, you start sharing. And I'm not sharing from a blagging perspective. I'm sharing from an inspirational perspective.
Okay.
Like how a cat from Kingsborough houses get a letter from President Obama.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
And I go by the formula by believe, see, speak, do. Like you can literally do it. Like I was in Hawaii. Like I didn't have to see that on Price is Right no more. I did it. You feel me? And when you constantly telling people the same keys, that even as you're going for your dreams, you're still going through the struggle, right? Even with all those accolades, my humility is I get off the A train and I walk right back to my hood. A lot of people forget the humility, right? And you try to tell that to people like, yo, what are you talking about? I'm not bigger than you. Like, have you seen my apartment? Like, I'm begging for heat. You know, but I'm still doing the work because I'm prepared for something big. And when they see that light in you, sometimes that light, as my dad said, activates people's demons that has been lying dormant for so long. And people, minds and energy start to shift where you got to say, okay, is this person still valuable in my life? Is this person still riding my coattails? Or this person straight up jelly because I'm out here winning, even though I still don't got the best job. I still don't got the best things. But I'm doing the foundational steps because when God blesses me to blow up, that wave ain't gonna stop.
Right.
So that's what it is for me.
Okay, your destination.
They both put a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Come on, say why you hiding?
He ain't RSVP, so we don't think he worth being here. I don't know why he picked.
Just to follow up on what you're saying, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people have different journeys and different situations to get into, and because you're like you said, like you've been to Hawaii, whatever stuff, right? I travel a lot, so I will come back to the neighborhood, visit the neighborhood, and be like, hey, bro, like, yo, get a passport. You know, yo, Bali is nice, bro. If you ever been to Bali, ever been like Barbados, like these places are nice, bro. Like you gotta get out of the hood, but they're not gonna understand because, and they're gonna take it personal. Also because they're so comfortable in their environment that taking the step to change is going to be difficult for them. Also, another shift is loyalty. A lot of us give temporary people permanent positions in our lives, and that's where we the truth. That's where we mess up at. I can only talk from experience. So that's just to follow up with what you were saying. I'm not gonna get too deep into it. This is not my show.
You can get deep if you want to.
I'm not saying you was talking over here. Go ahead.
What they would say kind of registered with me because, as I said, these two guys are my brothers from like high school. So if we used to speak to them, we argued with each other hundreds of times, where it's like we probably curse at each other. But guess what? We still here as friends and supporting each other. Another thing is, as you said, the light in the distance. I could give an example of that with me and my friend right here. When I went to go do my master's degree, to go and do it, he was like, "Yo, you shouldn't go do it yet and spend all that money on it, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Yo, bro, I don't care, bro. I know I'm gonna make more money and pay that degree off afterwards." He's like, I hear you. I'm like, bet. I did it, completed it. He called me, congratulated me, and told me he was happy, and I motivated him to continue doing certain things. So it's those stuff that also builds brotherhood. And like you said, the light, and like you said, you know, we might be in the trenches, but that one dude is still working. So as long as at least one or two of us are still moving towards something good, I feel like at some point they will follow or see like, okay, there is some kind of light at that tunnel. But I really think arguments is a big factor in building a brotherhood, because we do not always agree. If we're friends and we're always agreeing with everything we do, then that's an issue. Like, man, this guy argue all the time. Man, his politics is just different. So we always arguing, but this is my bro. I would never, like, if he needs help, I'm dead. If I need help, he's dead. You know, that type of thing. Or another example is like, for example, I lived in Albany for 10 years after I left here to go to college. And while I was there, not a lot of my friends traveled there. Like I was saying, they don't want to leave the hood. You get what I'm saying? So not a lot of them traveled there. But before I left to come back, some of them did end up coming to travel. We even lived with each other for a while he was going to law school. So like even that type of dynamic. When we lived together, we argued almost every day too. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just like, yes, it goes back to core values, but I also think those arguments, those turmoil, those sad moments, those good moments build that brotherhood where we could go back and laugh at it. Or we could be like, you know what? We don't gotta worry about that situation. We know we good. That's just one little misstep. You know what I'm saying? Or like you're saying, like, if I need a place to stay and I don't got nowhere to stay, I could call him. And I could call plenty of other guys that could be like, you know what? It could be 2:00 in the morning, possibly. They're gonna be like, pull up for the night. Because we're not gonna leave you outside on that door. Because we knew all the things that we went through our life journey to be where we are right now.
Right.
So that we relate in that type of way. In a sense. Oh, shit.
Nice.
All right, so you got marriage, destination, life changes. I want to ask about some of those challenges that prevent healthy bonds between Black men. All right, hold on, get in line. Hold on. I'm not gonna talk from back here. That's right. So if you want to be a part of this conversation, you gotta bring the chair over here.
I'm gonna say lack of trust and experience. I feel like a lot of times, like I could just be real. Like me growing up, I didn't trust men at all. So
Really?
it was over. It was quiet. Like I say, going to college. And
Did you not trust men? I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you not trust men with certain things, or just in
It
general?
was over. All I saw them do was lie, kill, and steal from me. Not cheat. To be blunt. My mom, single mother. My pops violated, and every other man I saw violated. And they didn't really have no lack of, like, there was no code. You feel me? It was about I gotta do what I gotta do, and that's that. And I feel like for me at a young age, I'm the oldest of myself to take care of my cousins. Everybody younger than me as well. So like, I wasn't really given a childhood, so I had to grow up a lot faster and be way more observant. And for me, it was just more so I can't really trust nobody. And because of that mentality, and I'll be honest, despite my peers, I'm not gonna say I'm more successful than them, but I'm a little bit more experienced and have a different perspective than they do because of what I was able to grow and see with the mentality that I had. And it's like, imagine being a young Black man having that perspective and you really don't believe in nothing. How can I tell another man that you get an opportunity? And usually it's about them benefiting from the gain of whatever I'm going to present to them against them. And because of that lack of guidance and knowledge, I don't have anybody above the age of 45 or even 50 to really tell me how to move with life, you feel me? Which, in terms of my generation, there's a humongous disconnect between the youth and the elders of our communities and our tribes. So because of that lack, and the middle ground was either dissected or they're doing what they gotta do, and there's no way to connect us with that group of individuals. So for me, it's like, I'm the laws are leading the laws. And we're just praying on whoever make it. And if they make it, we so busy hating them because we can't see where they're going because we have that lack of understanding and education. And there's nobody else to tell us, yo, bro, he cooking.
Right.
Like when I went away to college, people in my house turn their back on me. My family, oh, you think you better than us? My own mother didn't want me to go away. You gotta stay and take care of the kids. You feel me? My hood, like, damn, you really different. You going to Buffalo? That's like 8-9 hours away. They never been that far way out the hood. Some of them never even left the hood. Let alone leave their borough. So how can I explain to somebody like, damn, bro, I'm trying to benefit and bring it back? Right. Or they see me on stage dressed in a certain kind of way. They're looking at the tokenism of what I'm doing instead of the actual value of who I'm giving it to. You feel me? I feel a lot of times it's a lack of leadership, and it's tough. You feel me? It's really tough.
Yeah.
Please.
So we're gonna go there. Vulnerability. We're gonna go there. I think there is so much that prevents brothers from connecting in a way because of vulnerability. And one of the things that I stress, and my little bro could attest to this, I'm at a stage now where there's nothing you can say to me. There's nothing you can say to me because I'm that free. There is no skeletons in my closet. This is what I teach men, right? When you own everything about you, right? You realize compared to the person that is, what time is it right now? 7:53, that is on the 3rd level in Port Authority, freezing their behinds off, never took a shower, you'd be surprised. And you give yourself grace. Be like, you know what? I went through stuff. But compared to that person right now, I need to give myself thanks. Vulnerability in ways where you have experienced things that men will still to this day in our community will not share. I have been sexually abused. I've had sex with men. And I still have the woman of my life. And there are brothers who I had to cut off that still couldn't get that picture, that I'm free. That you get to be free in whatever it is you do and let God do the rest. Because that is a part of you. It is not you today. So when you get to those spaces where you're saying to yourself, you know, at 13, I was abused by my caseworker. I had, you know, what we say in the hood, DL, people coming to me, talking about me at the same time doing all this. And you're saying this on a space of like, I want you to understand, like, I need love and support. Minds automatically think, man, I'm next. Anybody thinking about you? Nobody's thinking about, let's get that shit out of our heads. Because if you're my brother and you've been around me for years and nothing has ever happened, why all of a sudden I tell you something's going to change? And then let's dig deeper. Suppose I do tell you, then what? What's going to happen? You really think somebody's really paying attention to you that deep that you're worried about yourself? Seriously.
All right. That's right.
And I think the vulnerability of the things that we experience as Black men, whether we were abandoned by our parents, whether we experienced foster care, whether we see our mothers and fathers get abused, in physical abuse, whether we see situations like myself, I'm the youngest of 3, and I'm responsible for my older brother because he has a mental health condition. So I don't have biological brothers. You know, so I had to create my own village, and that was through the space of vulnerability. And if men are Black men, especially Black men, if you're not able to be in that space where you own everything about you, trust me, you're going to continue to fall into those traps where that brother that said is there for you is not really there for you. So vulnerability.
Vulnerability. I want to encapsulate what you said because I think it's also important. Thank you for sharing that because that's high key vulnerability.
High key.
I want to encapsulate what you said in terms of a barrier that prevents certain bonds. If you could say what you said in a sentence, because I'm hearing, because essentially what I'm hearing is something I've heard plenty of times, particularly when men go to college, in the hood, there's that stigma of you think you're better than me, or we can call a spade a spade. Sometimes it's people's insecurities that will start to kind of flare up about somebody who decided to make a choice that's beyond their blocks, right? So a barrier, I'm trying to figure out how do you put that in a sentence, right? Like a barrier is not like brothers not being able to see beyond their circumstances, maybe. What else would you say is so vulnerability? Because I have heard men allowing themselves to be seen more in front of women than they are in front of other men. Can we speak to that? You want to speak to that down here?
Yeah. Well, for starters, it's kind of like, it's crazy that question that you asked, because I feel it kind of is like a culmination of what my 2 men said before. But I think like, in addition to vulnerability, I think the 2 like biggest things are like transparency and vulnerability. I feel like they're really 2 sides of the same coin. And I think like, to kind of speak to what my first man said about how, I grew up being able to trust men or just anybody in general, and like not really having no feelings. I think, regardless of where you grow up as a black man in this country in particular, you're trained from a young age to always have your antennas up. I grew up in Long Island, real like suburban lifestyle. I had family, all my family's from Brooklyn. So I would come out here on the weekends and see how my cousins.
Come on, you a weekend hood.
You keep it from when you're young, my man said can attest to me because we know each other from very young, you know what I mean? But like, there's like a point in life where you kind of grow up a little token, kid in your class, and then, you also see how your cousins in the hood is living, it's just, they come out to Long Island and they're like on a different type of time, and regardless though, not to ramble on, I say all that to say that, yeah, we kind of grow up with our antennas up, whether it be even my mom, don't go outside without your ID. Don't do the shit that your white friends are doing because when the cops come to book you, they're gonna let them go and, things of that nature, right? So if that's like a general, like, foundation per se, where we're always like feeling like we gotta be in this protected state, it's really hard to like kind of open up and be vulnerable with your man, even have any kind of like level of transparency, about like, I'm going through this right now, like, because we associate it too much with weakness, we really like associate vulnerability so much with weakness. And I think like, the one thing that you fear in this life, like you really have to know that inside and out. So A, you won't be scared of it anymore, but B, also know how to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
And I think like, like my man said, I don't have no skeletons in my closet, I wish I was kind of at that level of transparency personally in my life, but at the same time, I know I'm doing the work to get there, and I think like for me, it's just more so like, I've just realized that at least with my friendships per se, like the friendships that run the thickest, that run deep, are really, people that just know everything about me, my friends that I could vent to about X, Y, and Z, like it's really like not like I pride myself on being a transparent person in general, but there's things that I know that because I've been able to tell this person and like we're at this place and the way he received it, he met me with vulnerable ears too, he heard what I was going through. And it wasn't a quick like, yo, my nigga, tough like, it wasn't like, it wasn't one of those. It was like, damn. So then what happened? Like it was a, it was a space where I felt safe, to admit that, and I think like, just in general, like, I've seen like, I'm no stranger to it, there's been friendships of mine that have like crumbled and fallen because of, you tell somebody something in good faith and, they like kind of take it back and just, kind of throw it in your face, and I think, just to kind of like, revert it back to the question that you said, I think that, transparency and vulnerability are definitely two sides of the same coin. And I think it's like ultimately, if not the like two biggest things that I think like, especially as Black men, that like, really like hinders our friendships from like growing. And, like you were saying how, women like, you feel like men are kind of like, they kind of overcompensate like, and like are able to be like that, like around women more so. And it's kind of crazy that you even said that because there was a point like, to speak back to me, like, getting married and like, I had a destination wedding and all my groomsmen live in different states. And I just realized in this moment, like, damn, the homies that used to be like right up the block are like in Cali now, in Care now, and, I definitely just felt like alone at certain points of like planning, this wedding and just like trying to, it's annoying trying to get, 5 guys on the same accord, with everything that goes with that. But, I think it's, on the flip side, there was also just a space where like, because our foundation was what it was, and like, these are people that I could be transparent about around and, vulnerable and, when I'm hollering at them like, yo, bro,
My question though is like, how or what gets you to the place to decide this person is either worth me taking the risk to be vulnerable with?
I don't think men operate like that, though.
Tell me what they, because I don't
Nah,
know.
go ahead, bro, jump in. Y'all better jump
I'm
in.
gonna be real. For me, it's literally like that. I'm sorry, I'm keeping it blunt. For me, it's like you got empathy or not. I'm very blunt, very blunt. For me, like the determination is empathy. When people meet me, like I said, they meet this version of me, depending on how they meet me as a poet, as an activist, as a speaker, as an entertainer, as an intelligence, or what is like. For me, it's like you can meet all these people, but can you know the real me? You feel me? Can you know who I
So
actually
you just
am?
lay it out.
Oh no! I won't say that. For me, it's like
Sorry.
first of all, I gotta see how you react around situations. Let's say like, it could be anybody, but let's say we're going out to eat. How much food you leave on your plate? I'll be like, yo, let's say that you're somebody on the street. See how you handle those kind of questions or reactions, or see your morals and values, and see like, are you able to understand somebody coming from a perspective that may not be able to be understood or may be deemed unreachable? Because there was points where I felt like that, and even now in my life, I feel there's points where it's like, damn, I don't expect people to understand this shit. Feel me? When it comes to relating to people that I meet in my life, where it's like, damn, they want to look over me. I think, can I be completely honest with them? Can I be completely transparent and be vulnerable with them? And do they have the ability to apply the empathy to have this conversation with me? Because I'm not perfect. And there's certain things in my life that are constantly going on that I don't know if I can change at this point in time in my life. So are you willing to be there and understand these things? Or do I gotta maneuver? Because if I gotta maneuver, then you can't cross this certain boundary. You feel me? I feel like me as a black man, I had to learn to have boundaries so that I can learn to at least have some sort of relationships where it can be different tiers. All right, you're an acquaintance, you're a friend, your family, we blood, we hate, we locked in, you feel me? Because there's even certain like you got family members, but you can't tell everybody everything. Certain family members you go for one thing, certain family members you go for another thing, you feel me? But for me it's like, and I learned to accept those relationships and still be grateful for the relationships. Because there's people in this world who don't have that at all. You feel me? There's people in this world who come from certain places, like you said, keeping the trenches. They don't believe in having brothers. They don't believe in trusting people. And it took me so long, I probably say till now, to grasp that understanding. You feel me? And there's still people in this world who ain't never grasped that understanding. That all they believe is who I was born with, or what family I created, and that's that. My wife, my kid, that's that. I don't have no family, I don't got no friends, I don't got no brothers, that's that. So for me, it's just more about like seeing how you handle your life, seeing how you handle adversity, and seeing how you're able to observe people going through what they're going through. And that's going to really determine whether I'm be able to trust you, be honest with you, and be vulnerable with you or not. Because then you can't trust my inner circle.
Can I share a beautiful example? I'm gonna share one beautiful example. And for me, in my stage of my life, it's about energy. It's about getting that tap on your shoulder, because I've always said that I want to help as many black men as possible. And even if it means as I continue to excel, if I have my mansion, if there's a space, I don't care where they are. And I attest to this, right? I have one brother whom I encountered. I was working on my 4th degree, 2nd master's. Yes, I'm bragging.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say
right,
like,
because you have to. As black men, you know, we have to, right? So I'm coming home. This is when 34th Street had, you know, stores back. Now they gentrified the hell out of it. But there was a Dwayne Reed over there. And I'm coming in tired, long day of class. I just wanted to get a vitamin water, get on my train, go home. Cashier was like, my sister go there. I'm like, yeah. Okay, yeah, I just graduated did my program, whatever. We started talking. And literally 5 years later, he's still my little brother to this day. Simple conversations, right? And it's about, and I treat it like a grade system. I'm going to give you, because I'm free of who I am, you're going to get the A. You're going to start with an A. Because sometimes we haven't been taught to start with A, right? We try to build our way up instead of starting at the top and saying, hey, you can be vulnerable. Like, you can give me a hug. I can give you a hug and say it's okay. You can cry on my shoulder and say it's okay. Just like in school, you got to maintain that A.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in the last 3 years, they've been academically dismissed from the damn college. You understand what I'm saying? Because you have to understand, and Joseph said it, you have to understand at a certain point, you understand your value. You understand your worth. There are certain people that after a certain time, especially if they've been in your life for a long time, here's the key part. When they start saying certain things, those were their true feelings that they were holding on for a long time that they had in their reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Because you wouldn't said that
Right.
if you didn't mean it.
That's
You know what I'm saying? And I had this instance back in 2020. My father would attest to this. That's why he's smirking. Because I had to literally tell this person, you're going to remember this day. And when that day comes, you're going to tell people, and I'm going to hear it. And I'm just going to say, okay. Because you got to understand that in this society around Black men, there are a few of us that are, like you said, are willing to be empathetic and understand you want to rock with me or not. So if you're willing to cut me off for some lame nigga, for some nigga that's just gonna be wherever and that's just gonna give you a temporary feel versus a permanent, long-lasting bond that you know your ass need, especially because I know your story, good luck to you. May the force be with you. That's on your ship. I'm on a cruise. Have fun.
Yeah.
Say something?
Go for
I
it.
want to circle back about what he said in mental health.
Yeah, you need to get over here. You hiding. Black men should not be hiding anymore. Can we encourage him to come around?
Yeah.
Come on,
I
brother.
already did my part. He said he did my part. Yeah, I'm so close.
Circle back about what he said with mental health. I think mental health is key in the Black community, for Black men as well. I think that a lot of Black men look down on getting help from a professional. It's not easy. It takes time finding the right person. Myself, through therapy, I've been doing it for like a year now. I don't go as much now because I don't really talk to her as much of what's going on. But what I can say is that they help you put perspective on certain things that you did not understand or grow up seeing. So like for him, he grew up with his mom. I grew up with my dad. But I was tough love. Going from whatever. It was no long throwback. And he's Jamaican.
I'm about to say,
So like,
it's a whole
It's
different
tough love.
dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
they know my pops. You know what I'm saying? Like tough love. But you know, I can't say that it didn't help. But like with growing up with him, you don't get the sense of empathy. You don't get the sense of empathy. You don't get the sense of like, you know, you could be you in a sense. Because within my culture, in a sense, like that's just how they are in a sense. You know, they're just very strict on certain things, and you just can't budge them in their opinion. No matter what you tell them, they stuck on that.
That is true. That is
You know what I'm
real.
saying? Like, when I told my dad I was going to therapy, he said, "Well, y'all go to therapy, but you don't know what I did it. Well, y'all talked about, you know your life." I'm like, "Yo, pops, like, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, I'm like, Dad, I'm going to therapy because of you." Quiet.
That part.
Quiet. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So,
real.
I think that every Black man should. I'm not saying that, like, matter of fact, forget it. I'm gonna say, I think that we all need to do it because we all have trauma.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have different traumas. We have all different traumas.
He come around the corner now.
I have the traumas that I have, but I think we all have traumas that we need to face. Me
Yes.
growing up without a mother in my life is a different trauma from a man growing up with just a mother, not a father.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's different dynamics. I didn't have somebody to run to like, "Yo, Mom, Dad over there being me." I'm in my room, thugging it still. You know.
Yeah.
So that's my piece.
That's a good piece.
Just to follow up on what you're saying, though.
Before you say that, I do, no, hold on to it, don't forget it, put it in your pocket. There was a question that I did think of that thankfully this did speak to, which is the fact that there is a lot of cultural impact to how we perceive anything, but even just relationships among men. So speaking to, you know, a Caribbean man, even African men, men of the, I mean, real rap,
It's real.
it's really
It's
across the
I can say
diaspora
one thing, but
that all men kind of have to feel very, just toughened up. And I as a bystander, as woman, can see that when there is like a heavy-handed existence of masculinity, that it can impact the sensitivity that men have access to or don't have access to, or the vulnerability that men have access to or don't have access to. So I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that our own respective cultural backgrounds play a really
Yes, they
big
do.
impact
Yeah.
on
Yes,
how
they do.
we perceive many of relationships, but even men and how they have
Especially
relationships
men.
with each other.
I got
No,
one
you
thing to
can't
say.
go back.
I got
It's
one thing.
changed.
It's one thing. I'll just say that going away to college changed that.
It did.
Going away to college
I
changed that for me. If I didn't go away to college, I was still
Because it
stuck.
severed the tie from you to
And
like,
my parents and the culture, I think.
Yes.
I was open to see other people
Yeah.
and see their different cultures and their movements.
come on, encourage your
My-
kids to go
my
away to
first-
school,
my
y'all.
first- So as I said, Jamaican, he knows I spoke to him about it. We not with the gay things and whatever the case may be in our culture. My
Mhm.
first roommate when I went to college was gay.
On purpose.
That's God.
Yeah, on purpose.
Like, I didn't ask for that, like literally. So I had to deal with that,
Yes.
and I had to understand that. I'm not saying me and that guy was friends forever, no. But then my following year, I willingly moved in with another guy that was gay,
Yes.
and I can say having him as a roommate was probably the best time I ever had. Just
I bet he was clean.
Not only that,
Yeah.
it's not even about the clean. Like girls gravitated to him. So I'm talking about. So I'm walking into my dorm room after class, and it's just girls in my couches chilling. Win-win. Like, I'm not asking. Like, sometimes I'll be stressed because like it'll be a long day time, and I walk in, and probably a girl I don't want to see, and she in there because she friend with him, and I'm like, why are you in my room? But it's like she friend with him, and I'm like, I can't tell her to go, and I can't kick her out. But it's like, then it's like, okay, I'm going to read. It's like. So it's like,
I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Tolerance
So-
was built.
Exactly. So like, if
Amen.
I didn't go over to college, I don't think I would have been open to have a roommate like that. I don't think I would have been open to have a friend like Jamel. I don't think I would be open to certain things if I didn't go away.
That's good.
So yeah.
Come, your turn.
Yeah, not go cameras, but now this like based, coming back on the therapy thing. A lot of black men are afraid to do the therapy. Like you said, your father was asking why you do the therapy, and it's like if you're hood nigga, whatever you want to call yourself, if you grew up in the hood, like you tell your man you're going to
It's called
therapy.
inner city, guys. Inner city.
Right, you tell your man like you're wrong on the therapy, they're gonna roast you. Like you get no love, like you feel me? Like I feel like mentally, like mental check-ins is really important because you never know what they're going through. Us as black men are so taught to put your feelings aside, you gotta toughen up. Like what you want is like we grow up taking that stuff into especially from our parents, like we carry a lot of their traits. A lot of people not want to hear that, but we do carry traits into friendships, relationships, situationships, whatever ship you're in.
I don't want to cut you off either, but depression is hereditary as well. It's things that very much is just what you're seeing is very significant.
Yeah, so I feel like that's why a lot of us black men don't go to therapy. Bro, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna let you finish, but I did want to just kind of tie a couple of consistent themes that I've been noticing, especially from like the different questions. It's a continual thread, and I don't know if it's more so on the fact that ignorance is bliss or knowledge is power. But it's the same thing, and I'm always big on education. I always, and it's funny because me and my bro was speaking the other day, and we said education is communication. The thing is, by not being educated, we are able to perpetuate years and years and years of ignorance that we don't find comfort in it. I was about to say that we found comfort in, but technically speaking, there's the people that came before us found comfort in this ignorance and was like, oh, I wouldn't tell nobody that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go this way. I wouldn't do that. And the truth of the matter is, one, you should have done that because it's power in vulnerability. It's power in that knowledge of knowing better and doing better. It's power in understanding that this brother next to me makes me stronger when he is at his best. And I should inspire him to be better because it has a vicarious effect on my capacity and my potential. It's once you think about it from that perspective, then it all makes sense. But when you approach it from the ignorance that you was taught, it's like, man, if you catch fish better than me and we have to eat a fish tonight, and you gonna catch a fish, you gonna eat it, and I'm gonna be starving. So I can't work with you. Everything you do in your best interest is against my interest, and that ignorance is what we inherit from young by people who aren't educated.
Exactly. That too, but like they gotta be willing to change.
That's a fact.
They have to be willing to change, bro.
So
Hold on, bro.
go ahead. I want you to finish so I can talk.
Room full of condoms. I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna be very honest, as the man in his family who's trying to change that shit. That shit is ridiculous, bro.
It is hard.
That shit, I'm gonna be very honest.
Bro, man, you know different, bro.
Huh?
Man, you know different, bro. I heard the story.
Nah, yeah, bro. So
I heard what you're saying. I'm
saying
like, me, you know different. So like, I could really relate to more what you're saying. But at the end of the day,
In terms of what?
like the hood, all that, family, whatever. But at the same time, it's like you still have to put that foot forward to change. Even if they like it or not, you gotta be uncomfortable.
No,
I was very comfortable.
I say for me personally, that's what I am. With certain members of my family,
Right.
bro, my mom, there's no more room.
Right.
You feel me? My pop was a felon, and I had to learn from my niggas and my bros on the streets how to be a man. And unfortunately, I realized that ain't it. You feel me? Luckily, I would say luckily I realized that's not it. Because I got certain bros who don't got those cards, who in high school. Because for me, that was when I got. I knew the gap because in middle school, but high school, going to college was that big ass gap where some people, I'm gonna finish high school and I'm gonna get a job, and that's that. You feel me? I'm gonna work wherever I can. If I work or whatever I can, that's that. And I feel like you said, like just living in that kind of moment and that experience, and then trying to be the catalyst for my family. So not only am I trying to go against what the hood is known for, I gotta go against a little rooted system. This obviously we're facing oppression as black individuals and minorities, but a system of being raised from family who was overseas and in Barbados and family who were grown from down south. So that kind of parenting is different. There's no talking back. It's yes man, no man. It's absolute. There's no listening. There's no none of that. To have no pops in the crib because he's too busy in jail. So now I got an absolute sense of parenting from a single mother who don't got much of her lack of education. That the level of discernment I have to have at a young age is crazy. And then to grow up at the age I am now, I'm 26 years old. The level of discernment I have to be able to talk to grandparents and tell them that you can't talk about your 20-year-old grandson because he grew up during COVID, and because of COVID, there was a lack of empathy and a lack of mental health resources that he got lost in the source because the education system got fucked. You feel me? So that cohort of kids that was gonna go to high school and go to college, they fucked. Or that group of kids that was gonna graduate, they had nothing to do, so they started drinking and selling drugs. You feel me? So it's like trying to explain those things to people who were raised in an era where all I gotta do is be my wife, get married, have a crib or a place to live, and have my family, and that's that.
Be better.
I don't gotta worry about economics. I don't gotta worry about financial stability. I'm grow up in a place where things are simple. With that, just go to school, you're gonna be fine. That level of understanding is obsolete to today's age. So we're trying to find ways to communicate that and still there's certain people in this world that are gonna be the way they are. You feel me? And I'm not gonna say I'm ever gonna accept because I'm not. I feel like my family now, they understand that shit because of years of me literally, I'll be blunt, you feel me? I was homeless. My big brother Jamel, he was dead. He took me in. I chose to be homeless because my family didn't understand where I was going in my life. So for 2 years of my life, I had to figure that shit out. You feel me? And I thank God he got me during that time period momentum. But my family, even when I'm homeless, they don't give a fuck. They're still feeling, he left us. He ran away. He fucking us over. He don't care about what he's doing, you feel me? Yeah. And I had to understand that and accept that thought process, but still be a catalyst for change.
I check this right. You know, you had to prove to yourself you could change.
Yeah.
You had to prove them wrong.
Still proving too.
You gotta understand, I have West Indian family. I have West Indian parents.
Where you from?
I have a Jamaican background and my mom's from Barbados. When you prove, and we said this earlier, us three, but when you prove your West Indian parent wrong, they fall back.
That's so true.
And it's like, bro, it's like, yo, bro, you get so irritated, so jaded, like, yo, it's like you feel like you have to prove everybody wrong. Like, yo, bro, I ain't gonna say that word, but forget all of that, bro. You 26, keep being great, my nigga. My brother, you'll keep being great, because at the end of the day, you gotta choose your path. You gotta live your life for you. You do good, they gonna talk shit. You do bad, they gonna still talk shit.
There's a question I want, thank you for that. And thank you for encouraging each other across in that way, because there was a question that I had, I think we kind of touched on it, and I'm seeing it in real time. How Brotherhood helps to strengthen your ability to maneuver through society's challenges. And I'm seeing it in real time, that there are certain choices that you're gonna make. It's gonna kind of put you under the gun when you're already kind of under the gun just for being a Black man. And that it's gonna be you all's connectivity with each other that's gonna help keep you all afloat in the midst of society's challenges. But the question that I wanna ask next is, how does your relationship, or your relationship amongst Black men, and how does Brotherhood impact the wider Black community? I'm gonna read it verbatim so I can make sure I don't mess it up. How can Brotherhood among Black men extend beyond personal relationships to positively impact the wider Black community?
So I could dive in on that one. As a current organizer activist who has been out there and still out there on the front lines, I want to give a big shout out to Citizen Action in New York. I proudly serve as the regional board chair. And one of the things that we aggressively do, at least from my personal agenda, is that as long as it's Black, it's on #1 on my agenda. If you don't want it, remove me. Simple as that. And what I try to do, especially when it comes to the Black agenda, especially among Black men, is as a leader, as someone who is well respected among city and state leaders and even federal leaders, is that I get to still show my Black brothers that you can be recognized, acknowledged, and still live your best damn life. Those who have me on my Instagram, y'all know I could do a powerful protest. I can drop that mic, everybody like, ah! And be at a fete later that night.
Right.
And some of my little brothers could attest to it. Why? Because I've shown people that we control our own narratives. And especially in this political world, right? It's always try to fall in line. You see what's going on. You don't tell me what to do. God tell me to go, I go. God has given me this formula that I'm going to show my community and my Black men a unique path that you can be a phenomenal leader in your community and live your best life because of what happened to me in 2020, right? Because I was out on the front lines, and I'll never forget, and I'll proud to say this because the lawsuit's done is done. Right? I took down NYPD, and NYPD took me down because I was that enraged. None of my brothers was around. None. My father was there for me. So it was like, and my big brother, shout out to my big bro, he was away, so he had nothing to do. He was chilling on the islands, you know what I'm saying? He was chilling in Trinidad, he having a good time. But still, it was just like I had nobody around me to guide me and protect me because I'm big bro to so many. But even at 38, where's my big bro?
Oh, that's real.
That's real. At 38, where is my big bro? Who
Where is
do I talk to? And I'm trusting God with all of it. It's going to come because it has helped that way. But I just feel like in this space, I say it, especially in our political work, because it all affects us politically. I don't care if you want to get involved or not. Even in this space, what we're doing right now affects us politically. Because if we can get fired up and organized, we can change Best Guy right now. But we ain't gonna go. That's another different conversation.
Yeah, wait till February.
Right? But in that space of showing on TV, in front of press, talking to reporters from the New York Times and telling them from a space that, hey, as Black men, we get to support one another. As Black men, I'm showing that, hey, I live in Kingsborough. Shout out to Kingsborough House. I'm proud. 16 years, and I have 4 degrees working on my 5th. I've already changed the narrative. So when I move, I don't need to do anything more because I showed you and I flexed it. And those people in that hood respect me. They don't have to bond with me all the time, but they know that man is fighting for me. And it's about showing my Black men that you get to be vulnerable and still be a guiding light because you just never, ever know who's watching. Somebody, and I'll test it. It's one quick testimony. I was doing a press conference. This is back in 2020 when the whole BS, when they were trying to increase the bill for the budget for NYPD, and we shut that joint down. I remember speaking about it, and this young man came out of nowhere, was like, I've never heard anybody speak the way you do. And I undergirded him to the point where now he's now a big brother to somebody else.
That's dope.
And it just takes those moments that as Black men we need, because we all need it. In other words, love.
And so what I'm hearing is to, I guess, be so intentional
Yes.
about modeling what brotherhood is, essentially so that you inspire someone else to model it as well.
And when I say that, remember, it's your own definition. And my little brother's gonna test it. I say, take what I learned, make it your own. So if my brotherhood is weather, take it and make it your own. Even if it's better than me, because a real brother is gonna be proud that you evolved the narrative.
I see.
Jealousy.
A tough pill that we all swallow is like, because we in the circle, that don't mean we in the corner.
Say that one more time.
Because you're in the person's circle, that don't mean you're in the corner. And sometimes like that is a really hard pill to swallow because you be like, damn, I really thought you was my man.
Because then that starts to compromise the idea of loyalty.
But then that's weird though too, because I had those moments with some of my closest friends and we're still friends. But at the same time, you gotta understand people dynamic and what they can offer you at that moment.
That's big. I want to pause. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead, do your thing.
I want to pause and take this because, and not to take away from the brotherhood element of it, but I literally just experienced a version of this right here, which was you got to know what people can take and what their capacity is. Loving them for who they are and where they are. Yeah. And sometimes there can be a level of offense that happens because then you as person may feel like, oh, you're insinuating that I'm not able to hold space for you, or you're insinuating that I don't have enough capacity to show up for you in a certain kind of way. When in reality, that's not always a terrible thing. I feel like there's a level of acceptance that's required on both ends of the spectrum, where there's a level of acceptance of this person to say, I'm gonna meet you where you are, and I'm not gonna set the expectation too high because then that might tarnish our relationship. And I actually value our relationship so much that I'm not gonna set the bar up to set you up and to set you up in our relationship. And even as the person who is reciprocating that information, just taking that as intel, that instead of being offended by it, because Lord knows, I personally wanted to be offended because it's saying, all right, clearly I'm telling myself, but somebody's telling me like I wasn't able to show up in a certain kind of way, but instead of being offended by it, but just taking it as intel to say, maybe I need to check myself. Maybe I need to check how I think I'm showing up for people versus how I'm showing up to them.
Yeah, how they need you to show up for them.
Because the reality is sometimes we show up for people in a way that makes sense to us, but it's not translating to that other person.
And I think that comes with knowledge with the person that's asking for what they're asking for. Because you have to know, in a sense, what that person can give you or cannot give you. So you don't want to be disappointed.
Correct.
So like I said, like therapy has helped me through this process of thought. Yes. So it's like expectations. I no longer have expectations of anyone in a sense, because expectations can hurt.
Yes.
Because you're expecting this person to do something, but they might not be able to do it. And now you're like, man, I really knew you was gonna do it. And I learned that deeply from my dad. Because growing up, we'd be like, yo, you do good in class, you get these A's, you're gonna get this. Me? I do good in class. I get these A's. I ain't get shit. But it's not
That's real. That's real.
Would he be happy?
That's the thing, though.
Then he shouldn't have offered it.
But that's the thing. Right. As a child, I didn't know that he didn't have it at the time. All I knew
he knew he ain't had
when
it.
he got the good grades, though.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I'm saying.
But then it gets used as a tactic for motivation, as opposed to
being a man of your word.
Yeah.
Because now you're giving an example of how you don't necessarily have to be a man of your word, and that might bring an adverse impact to said child.
Mm-hmm.
And but like, yeah, that's basically like what it was. So like, and then after that, then I would be rebellious. I would then go to school and be bad. I mean, I'm still getting my schoolwork done, but then it's like I would still do other things. I was a very talkative person in class, like, but I would always get my work done. I wasn't like a dumb child or anything like that. It's just that that's the thing that I did not like of like him saying, "Yo, you get this, you get that." But as I got older, I got to realize that my dad didn't have it to give it to me. He didn't have the funds to give me the things that he said he was going to give me.
And that only comes with adulthood.
And that's what I'm saying.
When you're able to do the things yourself.
Exactly.
You're not looking for it from daddy no more.
And then I have two brothers now. That's with my dad, because I'm the oldest out of all my siblings. I have two brothers that with my dad now. My dad, he has money now.
Come on, money.
He's getting to the money.
Increase.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, now he's wearing fly shoes.
Okay.
My brother got a Canadian Goose jacket. I didn't buy myself a little jacket until I was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy myself a North Face jacket until I was an adult. My brother got Jordans, Yeezys, all different type of stuff. I'm not jealous though. I'm happy because I noticed that my dad learned from his mistakes and he's now doing better.
Okay.
Because my brothers are not slacking off. They're doing sports, their grades are high, and they're staying out of trouble. So there's no reason why they shouldn't get the things that they're asking for. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, that's where it comes up with that too. And like, when I said with like just knowing the person that you're asking for things about, you just got to know that who they are and what they can give you. Sometimes you want them to do better, but deep down, you know they ain't gonna do better. But at the end of the day, they still grow. Those are fact. Like man, we literally have like a small group. Like we knew each other since high school. I invited somebody else here to come, but he didn't make it. But we literally got a small group, about 5, 6, 7 of us. One of his close friends named Quincy, he's in Florida. Still my close friend too. I have another friend named Jude. We got a whole bunch of them. Like we're really very, very close.
Got it.
But we're all different spaces. And we know some of the guys that we look at them like, yo, we don't expect better from you.
Yes.
But you're still my bro. If you ask for help.
It's a level of acceptance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta accept them for where they are. And then the other things that
Just don't tell them that. Okay, that's not a card.
it's different. I'll be blunt with your bros sometimes because if you don't be, because this is what happened when I realized since I've been back. I've only been back for a year now. So I've been around my friends like very closely a lot now. What I realized is that like some of the new friend group and some of the friend group, we don't like to tell our bro when they're wrong and when they need to do better. They'll accept them from still doing the same BS over and over and over again. I was never that type of person. I'm the type of person who will tell you what you're doing is BS, do better. And then not only that, I'm telling you to do better, I'm leading by example. Because I'm not just telling you to do better and I'm doing BS too. I'm doing better and telling you to do better too. So it's not like it's impossible because both of us came from the same place. Matter of fact, I wasn't even born here. Y'all was born here. You feel me? I came here at an older age, and don't get me wrong, and work to make where I am now. But it's like for me at some point, there's no excuses because there's so many resources out there. And we have something called a phone now and Google and AI that you can just ask them any question you want to ask and you can get an answer. You don't even got to go to college no more to get high money. You can do a certification for 6 months and make 6 figures in some kind of tech field. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so many things that you could do. For me, it's the laziness.
I want to tag my brother in down here, and then I have one final question that's going to close us out.
Kind of like back to the original question on how you said how, brotherhood and how it could be like more influential and like a wider spread, I guess, macro view of things, I think like there's a big part of like our society in general that's just really binary to just everything, it gotta be one or the other. It can't be, they see a group of black men making moves and it's like they up to something. Like even like unfortunately, like, young black men, like they see you with a, nice this, nice that. It's like, oh, he's scamming or how he getting his money. It's like it gotta be associated with something, really like not good, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, kind of like, to speak to the point and like my own personal experiences, I think I was very lucky enough that a lot of my friends, my dad lives in Jamaica, still very involved in my life, but I only saw my dad like 2 months out of the year for Christmas, you know? So there's only really so much he could really teach me, you know? Even, you know, very supportive, you know, but at the same time, you know, I really could have just benefited with him being around more, you know? But I say that to say that I was fortunate because a lot of my friends that I grew up with, their fathers was around, you know? I saw a lot of like Black powerful men in my life, you know, who were living a lifestyle that I definitely want right now for myself, you know? And I think, you know, my friends' dads was friends with each other too, you know? So I'll go over to this house and I can see, oh, this is so-and-so's dad here. Like, and, you know, I think like the profound effect that had on me was that, you know, it really just made me grow up to understand that like the more of us in certain spaces together, the better, you know? And like, I think like, you know, not to make a blanket statement here, but I do think that there are like people who view, you know, seeing another brother somewhere, you know, it's immediate hate versus like, you know, nah, man, this is someone that I need to like get in tune with, you know, like he's doing it how I want to do it, you know, and I think, you know, it's definitely one of those things that I feel like, you know, kind of just to touch on all the other points that we were talking about, like empathy is like really critical when you're trying to build community, you know? And I think like, you know, to be able to have those spaces again where, you know, someone can holler at you and it's not nothing, you know, like they can really give their full unfiltered view, confession, vulnerability, whatever it is. And, you know, it's a space where y'all can build and there's growth from it. I think like, you know, that in general does like make, you know, brotherhood a healthier, wider space, you know, especially for younger kids coming up. You know, I do think, you know, my man said earlier, you know, like there's a gap between young kids and the elders nowadays, especially in this generation. You know, I remember growing up, and if you'd see someone walk past and be like, hey, pick that up. Like, you know, I wasn't thinking to like mouth off to them. Like, I'd pick it up, even if I didn't talk. You know, it was just a certain level of, you know what I mean? And I don't know what you want to call it, whatever it is. You know, I've worked with kids. You know, I've worked in high school, middle school level. I coach, and I definitely see like, you know, kids nowadays, they're not cut out like to how we were. I'm not saying that, again, not to sound binary and be like it's one or the other. It's at the flip side, I do feel like kids these days are very knowledgeable, maybe a little too more knowledgeable than their maturity level, but you know, that's here or there. But you know, there is a disconnect regardless, you know, and I feel like, you know, it's definitely one of those things where like I know growing up, I definitely benefited seeing Black men in unity together, whether it was my friends, dads, or you know, the men in my church, you know, like doing things and having us together, you know, it was a definitely, you know, it's something that paid residual effects later on in life that, you know, when I was younger, I didn't really appreciate it, or understand the magnitude of it in the moment, you know, but I do feel that, you know, there's just a space where, you know, the healthier the brotherhoods, you know, that stuff can be like passed down, you know, this gap right now with youngins and elders, you know, that can be, you know, brought to a healthier space, you know, than before, you know, and I feel that, you know, it definitely is one of those things like, you know, trauma is scientifically proven to be genetically passed down, you know, like it's crazy. I found this out recently and it kind of blew my mind, you know, I'm like, wow, you know, and, you know, at the same time, if trauma could be genetically passed down, why can't like, you know, like things of that nature be passed down too, you know, and
Respect.
yeah.
I'm gonna let this brother say his word, and then my last question about future forward.
Back to you. Let's see. You. I just want
Not you.
Name? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, bro. What's your name, bro?
Now you sanctioned Joe.
Joe. All right, man. Look, I commend you, bro. I commend you. You know what I'm saying? You change your environment to change your life.
Oh yeah.
You feel me? It starts from there. We all, some of us, like, because when you said it was hard for you to trust like men. I've been in certain situations where, as in, you look up to somebody who made it in a field that you you want to be, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to, your path, like you want to be in this field, and they on, but they don't want to put you on because one, they don't want to see you outshine them in that field, or what they endured to get to where they at.
Oh, that's a
You
big
feel
thing.
me? And a lot of people might think it's cocky, but bro, if you went through that, that's where a lot of arrogance comes from. Because like what they endured to get there. You feel me? And it is a bad disconnect. Like, you know the crazy thing about black men, which is in the Gove, it's like we could randomly just meet each other and have a conversation and be mad.
That's a fact.
You feel me? And you would not see that outside our culture. No matter if you West Indian or Black American, we could all have a random like, yo, what's good, bro? Or like even if like you're walking down the street, you get eye contact and you get a head nod. That head nod could go into like a whole 30-minute conversation.
Yeah.
So you feel me? Like
Shout out to blackness and our unspoken communication. That's hella universal. There was something that you touched on that I'm only gonna highlight briefly. The train is pulling out the station. What was the thought? It was when you said, "Bing bong, it's gone."
Okay.
It's all right. I'm gonna go to my next question. My last and final question, and I'm gonna direct it to Frank Bold as a catalyst that is working with young people. And I think we all essentially work with young people in one way or another, period. That's a 9-to-5. So my question is, what are two elements, 2 points that you feel are imperative to share with young Black men to help perpetuate healthy relationships among brothers?
they gotta be around those.
That wasn't for you,
Oh,
mister.
sorry, sure.
You wanna come around the corner? I know.
You're like, I'm here now.
I was so into the question, that was my fault.
No, thank you.
on you.
Thank you for your presence.
Cannot be high no more.
Thank you for your presence. He was present for that.
There you go.
I'm gonna hand it to Frank, and then we're gonna take it out.
I would say that patience is paramount. That you gotta have patience with yourself. I kind of said this at the last time I was a catalyst. Gotta have patience with yourself, patience with your family, patience with your friends, patience with the people around you, because hurt people hurt people. And Black people hurt a lot. So a lot of what y'all all said, I want to commend all of y'all. I learned a lot tonight. And I realized that all of y'all are leaders, you know, and as leaders in our community, as I teach 11th and 12th grade, I realized that as a leader, that patience and understanding that sometimes you gotta know that you're gonna take that hit. And you gotta be okay with that as a leader.
Yeah.
You gotta be the first one out the door, and sometimes the first one out the door is the first person to get the hit. And you gotta be okay with that and have that patience to say, like, okay, I know that whatever you're going through, you're just transmuting that to me. And I'm gonna take that and it stops here. I'm not gonna transfer that to anybody else. I'm not gonna transfer that to my wife. I'm not gonna transfer that to my family. I'm not gonna transfer that to another student or back to you. It ends right here. And when you bounce back that hate, I'm just gonna send back love. Another thing is to kill the ego. You said two things. The ego is the biggest enemy in our community, or one of the biggest enemies in our community. Teaching 11th and 12th grade, they have this mentality that they gotta be the man. That if they don't have it all the way together, then they don't have nothing. That we need an understanding that it's okay to climb, which I feel like everybody here kind of touched on, and we all feel that in this room. But in terms of the future generations, letting them understand that it's okay to not have it all the way together. It's okay to be at step one. It's okay to be at step two. Sometimes you might have to go back a step, but that's okay. And that's my 2 cents, my 2 things.
Come on, 2 things. The 2 things was patience and kill the ego. Have patience and kill the ego. Copy. Go ahead, Kev. 2 things.
Number one is always put your best foot forward.
Yes.
A lot of people disqualify themselves by just not doing their best. And one of the things I always rhetorically ask people who fucks up, I I let them go, this happened, that. I ask was that your best self? Just to have that moment of accountability and reflection of, you know what, I could have done better in that moment, even though I was the victim, or even though this whole thing seemed like it was set up for me to fail. You can still do your best and fail and still feel good about what you did because you know you put your best foot forward.
Mhm.
And I would say that is definitely number one. Number two is be the change you wish you had, or you see a need, feel a need. And one of the things that keeps me going and doing better is because I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to when I was going through certain experiences. So I didn't even know that you can overcome certain experiences and it has no reflection on where you headed. But being that person who's persistently going through different adversities and making it out on the other side and thinking damn, I'm the only person in human history to go through shit like this, to know where I'm at, when the reality is I'm not. I'm actually, it's millions of examples in front of me that I never honed in because that wasn't articulated to me. So it wasn't taught to me. So I'm going to go back and I show the younger generation, my family members, people who watching me, this is possible. And I'm gonna let you know the whole way, listen, yes, I'm a lawyer. Yes, that whole court scene is fun and shit, but I graduated at the bottom of my class, ranked 150 out of 151 students. Nobody gonna tell you it, that yeah, you can be there and get all D's in law school and still be an attorney for the state.
Attorney.
You in the door. You in the club, right?
But
Right? If they say door's closed, you the last one.
Right. Heard you.
Right?
That's great.
I wanted to just piggyback on what Oakland said with the patience. Like I said, I really have my phrase that I've been telling bodies, loving them for who they are. I feel like that's patience in all totality, And then what he said is giving that. If a white young lady named Caitlin did come to our high school and told us to go to a Cypress Hill program to apply to college, I would have never been to college. So it took a white lady to come to my school to help us go to college. And I wasn't a bad student. I didn't have no grades. I was in AP classes and everything. Me and him shared the same classes. But they didn't look at us. They look at the guys that was super excelling, 4.0. If they're 4.0, I'm a 3.4 or something. They're not looking at me. They're looking at that. Yeah, they looking at the full A's and the kid that I guess was a little bit more active in the building. Whereas for me in high school, it was I just went to school to do work. And then I went back home and chill with my friends. But I was passing. So for me now, I always remember that moment. So that's for me. So one of my goals is to give back. And one of my goals is to have a hobby shop in a minority neighborhood where, you can teach them new things and also see people within your community that are successful and also look like the rappers and the artists and the musicians that you look up to. Because I think sometimes what it is with the kids, they get highlighted by the money and the flashy things and the girls and the fly cars, and they just think that music and basketball and football is the only people that get that. But it's no, other people get that too, just that we're not always on social media like them or always in front of the camera showing you. So I think one of the goals is for me to continue working as hard as I can, and when I do go back into the neighborhood, try to look as good as I can as well. Because when they then say, "Who are you?" It's plenty. We went out the other day. They thought I was about to run out the bar with the drink.
Oh yeah, that was OD.
Because how I dressed that day. And I'm like, no. And then another day, a girl called me Offset, the Migos. I'm like, what? Because I had my locks down, I had on thing and all of that stuff. So it's we also need to be that example or that shining light that they want to look up to, Because at the end of the day, you got to kind of go into the kids' brain and their minds. I think a lot of them, so I'm saying they don't care about the suits and the ties more time. They're who is this? Because remember, you in the hood, who is this dude with this suit and tie? I don't know. But then they do see a dude that's selling drugs and doing scamming. They come with a Biggie jacket and a chain and a fresh Jordan. Yo, what you doing, bro? Oh, this is what I'm doing here. Hold this, hit the block. Then what they doing? They're hitting the block. Yeah. So I feel it's also the image, is being patient and then giving back in the image. I feel like you gotta have some kind of image that relates to the younger generation as we continue to grow.
Very
Mhm.
true. Last thought.
For the first thing I want to say, like self-love and
No,
self-acceptance.
you
I do. I'm crying. I do a lot of mentorship as well. Always like give like a my middle school 8th grade. Always give a graduation speech. Always involved like college day, fraternity, sorority day as well. Anytime I can step inside of the classroom in the building. But for me, it's just like that sense of self-love and acceptance is like when you're growing up. I feel like a lot of times because I can relate. So I'm at a point in my life where I can connect to my inner child. I feel like a lot of people have yet to do that or know the benefits of connecting to your inner child. So it's easy for me to connect. I'm in the middle of the generations, you feel me? So it's way more. I just left where they were. So I just try to tell them like, yo, just be yourself. You feel me? Learn things that make you feel like you, and things that don't make you feel like you. Try to like negate those things. I can't tell a 14-year-old who's in a blood neighborhood not to gang bang. You feel me? What I can tell them to do is like, yo, bro, if you want to bang or whatever. What do you like to do? You like to rap, that you went to, and try to put them on game in terms of finding those resources. Or you might have teachers in your life that might be able to direct you to where you are, and you gotta stay true to yourself. You feel me? Like me, I grew up in a school where my bros was carrying guns. You feel me? I went to a school where we in middle school they selling drugs. You feel me? There's shootings going on outside the building. Like it is what it is. You feel me? Like, I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens. Like it's bust so much I can't even look outside my window because I might get blamed. You feel me? Or I can't go out at a certain time because it's over. Like, it is what it is. So it's like your expectations and what you want to become, like you said, are going to be different. But it's a lot easier when you're able to accept who you are. And I feel like once I started learning to accept myself, no matter where I was, it made life a little bit easier. And at that age, and because of the vast amount of knowledge these children have access to, they're growing up a million times faster. Parents don't even really parent their kids no more. They give them a tablet or phone. That's that.
Yeah.
So social media really raising our kids. Not saying it's for everybody, but I'm sorry, when you're not around, what you think they're doing? Who did they communicate with? How you think they learning certain things? Because people don't really watch TV like that. So what do you think they're learning what's going on? You feel me? When you're able to teach your kids those certain, so you're able to teach the youth, because that's what's going to cause the rebellion to change things to ripple. That's the future. You feel me? And we're able to establish self-love and acceptance. That's when able to find things that can get them to where they're going. I say my second statement to close it out. It's a belief system. Because you cannot do this shit alone. I'm sorry, like they always say, take a village to raise a child. And what would it take to raise a man? So I'm not going to tell them, yo, if you have dreams and you follow through, you're going to be successful. Because I'm fucking still fighting myself. So I'm not going to sell them no shit that I can't go through. When I was their age and I'm in middle school, this millionaires talking to me, I don't give a fuck about what they did. I don't give a fuck who you are. You didn't come from where I come from. Until I heard him, he went to 116. I'm like, oh shit. He was in Bricktown. He was in the trenches. And I'm not going to say that now is obviously different. But when I'm talking to a youth, and I'm sorry, I reach the children or the youth that are deemed unreachable.
That's right.
I'm talking to those who are deemed unsafe.
That's right.
I'm talking to them because I was me at a point in time. I was lost. If it wasn't for my teachers on some, I don't give a fuck what you think. You're going to college. I don't give a fuck what you got going in your household. You're gonna rebel. You're gonna do this shit. Or I'll play basketball. So that shit too. Like yo, you make the class and tell your coach you're on the team. You feel me? So it's like that was my. Even though I can see it now at this age, I didn't think about that time. But when you're at that age, you have a belief system because sometimes you don't even got your family.
Yeah.
You didn't know they got no parents in the house. So I had my mom, but my mom didn't understand me. She saw me as a man. I'm sorry, she saw me as a father. She saw me as somebody to raise her kids. It's like, bro, I don't even get to be who the fuck I am. So my belief system were the people inside of my school, inside of my teachers, my mentors, people who got into my brothers are here right now. You feel me? Another one of my frat brothers. I was able to have my thought process change, and I feel like the most reachable grades are 8th grade to me freshman year, that junior, senior year as well in high school, because that's when it's like, yo, you can be safe. You feel me? My junior year in high school, I had good grades, like you saw with your pop, I had good grades. Nobody gave a fuck about my grades. My household still violated me. I'm looking at my grandfather. You don't,
bro.
you feel me?
You supposed to get 8.
I'm like, damn, you supposed to get 8. And you're not seeing what's going on with me in my life. You're not gonna stand in and stop how I'm being treated as a young black man in this world, where a father is targeted outside of the household. You're not gonna try to prevent what I'm doing outside these streets. When I'm in school, I'm not even thinking about school. I'm thinking about what I gotta do outside of that. So I feel like me having people around who could bring, like you say, you went to a program. No matter if you go to this program, you'll go to this internship. You'll go visit the school. Matter of fact, you don't got the money, we're gonna pay for that shit because we really believe in you. Whether you believe in yourself or not, whether you were enough fight or not, I got people that love me no matter where I was in my life. So I try to encourage the students that I do talk to, or the little brother that I have in my life, that bro, you gotta find a way where you, no matter where you are in your life, these people gonna believe in you, and you gotta be willing to accept yourself no matter where you are, because you never gonna be perfect. This world was not created and designed for you to be you. So you gotta
I'll
find
just
that
quickly
shit.
say, in addition to that, just share your story. Because I've been in high school, just really quick, I share the stories with the baddest, and I love the baddest of the bad. And I dive right in. When I lost my dad at 10 years old, when I was in foster care in 1997, 18 cops pull up. Silence. Because there are some people in that room that have experienced that. And if you're really trying to change lives, you gotta be able to tell it in a way like, oh, this person gets me. Because I have walked away from the baddest of high schools where the roughest of the roughest came to me crying. You understand? Tears out their eyes because it was like, you get me. And even with the things you've gone through, you can still become a 4-time graduate of CUNY. You could still travel half this country. You could be recognized by the president. You could literally have all these people and be in spaces meeting legends from Harold Belafonte to Stevie Wonder to all these people from Brooklyn, New York, with all the struggles that you've been through. And that's what you got to do. You got to share and own your story, because somebody at 11 years old, 10 years old, your age right now, all of our ages right now is going through the same thing, and they need to hear that inspiration. I'm sick and tired of hearing parents say, think you did it better than me? What we do, I'm telling you the pitfall, and I'm giving you a rope. That's the difference between me and everybody else. And that's what telling your story is all about. And that's what it is for me. You got to tell your story.
Copy. So I'm going to wrap it all up. The things that we need to pass down, what you all feel is imperative, is extending patience, killing the ego, accepting yourself for who you are, connecting with people who believe in you. I wrote it down. Self-love and acceptance, share your story, and put your best foot forward. I love this. I thank y'all so much. Oh, the thought that I had over here that bing bong that went off was, and my very good friend Kristen, shout out to Shirkin Cotton, who continues to encourage me to do these things. She said something similar to, let's kill the narrative that our children have to struggle like we do, or like we do. Because what's the point of generational growth or just progression if you constantly feel like you have to have your child prove that they're worth doing anything by going through the same thing that you did? Essentially, it's like restarting the clock every time, as opposed to passing the baton from where you are and saying, go forth, go further, go bigger, go better, just do it. And I think that is also, I think when Black men, as to what my brother said down here, when Black men decide to stay connected, and I'm feeling like there's so much more grace among Black men that you all have for each other, where when y'all's lives take you in different directions, that y'all still hold on to each other, and there's power in that. That's where we get to see the impact on our community, when brothers are still holding space for each other in their vulnerability, in their transparencies, in their derailments, or in their on the side roads that they go on, that there's somebody who's still going to be at the flicker, right? Who's still going to be the light to say, I see you over there. I'm going to be over here, but just know I'm still with you. So I want to be an example for when you're ready to come up out of wherever you are. And still maintaining that connectivity is really going to be how we continue to have our people grow stronger, our people grow better, our men grow stronger. We didn't get to dive into accountability, but there's something really, really big there about accountability. You already know how women on this side may feel about men's ability to hold each other accountable, and I'm not going to speak on that.
Part 2A.
We can do a part 2A. I really feel like you all have been really, really beautiful in your willingness to share, in your transparency, in your openness, and I really thank all of you all for being a part of the Brotherhood edition of the Conscious Kickback. Meet us again in December. Y'all are the reason why I keep this going, even though it would be expensive and I'd be tired. So I appreciate it.
Yes. Woo! Go LA.
DJ Nova Scotia, little tune. buy one last drink before it's closed? Buy
Thank you.
one last drink, buy one last wing, and I want to take a picture with my catalyst, and we could just mingle for a little bit. Thank y'all so much.
Spread your wings. Nothing is impossible. Believe I can do it. You can spread your wings. Nothing is impossible. If I can do it, you can spread your wings. Bless not flow like a river. 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 That's what them know someone a leader. Shut up and if you press the trigger.